opted to have this be about as relaxed as possible in my living room, because I wanted to sort of imagine to the best of my ability that we were together and you were in my home. We are able to, in one way or another, observe Imbolc with one another, to talk about how we feel, where we're at with this day, this moment in time. But for now, this may be as close as we come. Take from this side. Okay. Settling in, everyone, now, and after the fact, finding your most comfortable place. Let us make our offerings and light for reverence, care, and protection at these 7 directions. Also, if you have workings that you are doing tonight, or workings that you need to do in general tonight, not necessarily here with me, might actually be a perfect moment in time to focus your energies on forward direction with a look at the past for your spell work and your workings. I am not looking at you for no reason. I am currently lighting for our 7 directions, making our offerings for them in the name of protection, love, and care. I am also lighting for you and for me. Before you all, quote unquote, got here, I called in for the 7 directions and closed our circle. We are nice and safe, and if you would like to cast for yourself now, I invite you to do so. I light for you, for your families, your homes. I light for your health, your safety, your abundance, your hope, your peace, and your happiness. The offering that I am making for you all and for anyone present in spiritual communication is made by one of my most favorite witches and one of my coven mates, Ivory, and I would like to dedicate tonight's sit and circle in part to her. Ivory, if you are seeing this now or after the fact, I love you. Thank you. I love you. Thank you. I love you. Thank you. I love you. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Now that we are officially here, we are all together in the present moment or after the fact. I again extend this offering of light, of herb, from my earth, from my ground, from my coven, smoke, water, and fire, to bless and cleanse the ground that we sit on, the ground that nurtures and feeds us. My greatest hope for this offering and this time together is that it be pleasing to this earth and to our ancestors, that it benefits this planet and all that inhabit it. In the name and honor of all those present in spiritual communication with us tonight, I extend this safety, hope, and happiness to your earth. May you carry it with you moving forward. Blessed be. Hello, friends, family, blessed Imbolc. I wanted to come together with you tonight, the second and final day of Imbolc, which is, as many of you probably already know, a Sabbat, a Greater Sabbat in the turn of the pagan wheel of the year. It holds great significance in this spiritual tradition and practice. It holds this time, this day holds great significance historically for the survival of this planet, in that observing the earth, observing the turn of the wheel as we understand it, but observing the ground, the earth, all that inhabit the area that one lived in, paying attention to and being able to note the fact that this day, this time marks the halfway point between the beginning of winter and spring, the initial or theoretical thaws of spring. Whether or not we actually see thaw, at spring remains to be seen, and I don't think that that is the point. This day is quite significant for lots and lots and lots of ancient and historical reasons. This day is quite significant in modern and practical reasons, and for those reasons, added to the fact that I miss you so much. I miss being with you. I miss talking with you. I miss touching you. I miss looking in your eyes. I miss hugging you and asking you how you are. And so to observe the significance, the modern importance and significance of this day, of this 2-day period of Imbolc, to observe and pay reference to the ancient, indigenous, and world practice of this period of time, now known as Imbolc. We're here, we're together because I miss you, and because this day is super important, this period of time. It's 2 days, I know I keep saying that. So Imbolc is again a major Sabbat in the turn of the pagan wheel of the year in practice. It's to the best of my knowledge, as I'm sure we all at this point know by the end of this 2-day practice. It is a traditionally Celtic holiday, otherwise known as the Feast of Saint Bridget. I'm sure that you have seen on the internet, maybe in your own practice, Bridget's crosses made out of straw or hay. Once again, this is a festival for what? Traditionally speaking, a festival for what? To light the fires in our homes, in our hearths, to light the fires in our villages, to, in theory, have something to look forward to, right? To be able to mark the passage of time, to say, okay, we are about halfway beyond the mark of winter. We are chugging along one way or another, and as we gather together here, staring into the flames of this noted period of time, we beckon the promise of spring. We try, as I was talking about in my post earlier here on Instagram, we try, probably from a very traditional perspective, to coax an earlier arrival of spring in hopes that we are looked upon with favor by the elements, by neighboring villages, by the Goddexx that looks over us in ancient theory or in modern theory. This is, I think, traditionally speaking, a period of time when people seek to rush out of the darkness of the winter. You know, I can't say that I would be not among those that have practiced in this way. I no longer live in New York, and so, you know, if I'm being very honest with you, all of the time spent there in the darkness of winter, however fertile that germination period is, by this point in the year, I too most likely am ready for the shit to be over. I'm not there now, but it is still really cold where I live, and so for lots of really mundane, very reachable reasons, I catch myself really wanting this period of time to be over. I catch myself really wanting to light all the fires I can possibly draw near to me, to just get there already, to just get there already. Now, in your name and in your honor, I'll light a few more before I continue. The fires of my home and my hearth light for my community. The fires from my home and my hearth that have lit for my community. Light for the healing of the earth and all of her inhabitants. Maybe you can't see that, and that's okay. If we were in person, or when we will be in person again, you'll see it all. The fires of my home and my heart. Light for my community. The fires of my community lit by my hearth and my home. Light for the earth and all of her inhabitants. The fires of my home and my hearth and my community, the fires of my home and my heart light for my community, which in turn light for the earth and all of her inhabitants. That we may, that I may, that you may, with this light, be guided towards the future of what must continue. We don't just light from the fires of our hearths, our homes, towards our communities, towards the earth. Again, to, at least from my agenda, to hurry up and rush out of this period of time. We light the way for ourselves and for one another to see where we're headed, so that we may also be able to see clearly around us. Where exactly are we now? If we take a good stock in trade, a good, well-illuminated look at, through all of this light, where we are now, I know for a fact that we will be able to see under the illumination of both sun and moon and fire and hearth and home and heart and community where we have been. We must use this moment in time, this precious, precious, precious ancient observance of Imbolc, to illuminate where we come from, leading me to a few suggestions that I have for you. This day, a little bit more about Imbolc and the Feast of Saint Bridget. This is a gathering of one another to theoretically, I'm guessing in ancient practice, draw people from the confines of their places in the village to come together to quite possibly rouse hope for the individual and for the collective. To stir energy, to imbue hope, to know that there is in fact work to be done where they're headed. The first plantings that will surely come after the last frost. Upon first thaw, there is work to do. In theory, if we're working the land, yes. And in theory, if we look at ourselves, our communities, our global collective communities and societies, our local collective communities and societies. We must fully be able and willing to illuminate this moment in time to, yes, see what we must do ahead, but also, again, take a good, solid, appreciative look at where we've been. This is in, I think, modern neo-pagan practice, a time when a lot of observant folks make the moves, take the actions to recommitments to their goals, recommitments to their hopes, their dreams, recommitments to what they vowed to work towards and work through moving forward. This is a time of assessment and recommitment, in hopefully, fingers crossed in theory, and I'm speaking lightly about that for a reason, to again having fully illuminated, to be able to take stock of where we're headed and recommit to doing whatever it takes, to not returning to these places of damage, of liability, of harm. I mentioned earlier, after much thought, meaning on Instagram here in a post, that I fear through a lot of witness that our tendency as modern folk is to sort of compound damage upon damage upon damage by not necessarily repairing what we have illuminated, but my fear when I sit with this in communion with Spirit is that we don't take enough time to illuminate or illuminate at all where we've been. Maybe it's too painful to acknowledge. Maybe the damage feels too great. Maybe the damage that we've done feels too great. Maybe the damage done to us feels too great to bear. While that may to a degree be true, and I think that it is, I know that within this great wound and damage, this liability, there is asset. I know that there is strength. I know that there is promise. I know that there is opportunity for healing. I know that there is light. I know this. And by rushing through this moment in time, by either not acknowledging where we've been at all, or just breezing past it, nothing to see here. Okay, I'm done with the dark, I'm done with the cold, I'm ready to move on. By rushing through this moment in time, or by rushing through life in general, to sort of move away from the negative side of things, not only are we not acknowledging that which must be faced, but we're also not present for the beauty in ourselves. We're not present fully for the beauty in one another, in our homes, in our local communities, and our global communities. Why is that? Is it that it could be just too much to bear? The beauty that we witness in ourselves? Is it too much to bear the beauty in one another? Why is that so hard to face? Do we fear on some subconscious level that it might just crack us wide open? That we could heal ourselves and each other once and for all? If we could, acknowledge the damage or the hurt or the pain, but if we could acknowledge the deep, abiding beauty in ourselves and one another, what might that look like? This is, of course, since we're not together, this is of course rhetorical, but I lovingly, with my whole heart, encourage you to carry these questions, these thoughts with you throughout the evening and into tomorrow and to this next batch of time. If we sit with this light in this moment, this fiery time, what would we discover there? Would we discover beauty or harm or pain? Would we discover beauty within this pain? Do we fear this beauty in ourselves and one another? Do we fear the pain that we witness in our fellows? Do we feel that too might be too much to bear? Are we afraid that we lack the capability to heal ourselves and our fellows? Sometimes I think yes. That too, I know for sure, holds possibility for change. I know this for sure. It is literally my full-time job. So, this is what I'm doing. I'm here on, as my fellow friends of Bill like to say, a fact-finding and fact-facing moment, proposition. I am deeply and brilliantly illuminated in all parts of my life, literally and figuratively. I am deeply and brilliantly illuminated. Here in the presence of great and astounding spiritual communication, I see you deeply and brilliantly illuminated. If you are able to withstand this illumination, if you are able at all to face this bright, blinding, and beautiful light within yourself and your fellows, I invite you now to sit in this light and take 3 breaths with me. We do everything to the power of 3, everything all the time. Just for one moment, I'm going to offer you a visual. Please, for just one moment, take in our offering of light to the 7 directions, to the earth, to our ancestors, to all of the earth's inhabitants. I invite you. I'll show it to you one more time. Look at this light. Look at this light. Look at this light. I would like for you to imagine that you sit atop this tray, this giant cosmic tray. Let's see. You can figure it out. I was going to put something in there to pretend that it's you. Imagine that all you can take in underneath you and on each side of you, above you, beautiful glowing light. That which you sit upon is a source of light, so much so that it sort of turns you into E.T.'s fingers. You glow. Take that with you. As we focus our 3 breaths, nice and easy, only 3, we can do it. We've been breathing all day long. I want you to begin your breaths slowly and gently and with as much love tenderness as you can possibly give yourself. I want you to begin your breaths from the bowl of your pelvis. I want you to, as you breathe in, I want you to allow that light, to see that light and allow that light to fill up the bowl of your pelvis. As you continue to breathe inward, I want you to imagine this glow, this light fills you up, traveling up your beautiful and perfect spine. It's going to reach above your crown. And if you are able, I'd like you to hold it there. And then as you exhale, you will send that beautiful light down your perfect spine and allow it to pool and gather in the bowl of your pelvis. We're going to do this 3 times. You can do it. You've been breathing all day, I'm sure of it. Ready? Here we go, first breath. Hold. Second breath in. Hold if you can. Third breath of light from the bowl of your pelvis up. Hold. As you continue to breathe throughout the night, I know you can do it, I want you to try as best you can to remember that this light is below you, it surrounds you, it is above you, it is you. And if you are able to face your own beautiful, frightening, blinding beauty, it will illuminate every pocket of you. As you allow this light to continue to travel up your spine, imagine it, if you can, imagine it. Do it. All the way up. And as it travels upward, hopefully it doesn't spill wax on you like it just did with me. As it travels upward, it illuminates each pocket of your body, mind, and spirit. Illuminating these places in the body, mind, and spirit you are provided, or these places within you that perhaps have been too difficult, too scary for their beauty or their pain to acknowledge. Perhaps up until this point it has been too difficult to give these places audience. Not just the scary stuff, but also your wild, wild beauty. Allow this light to travel upward, illuminating these places. And if you want to go even further, I'll leave you in the breath sense with this suggestion also. If there's anything that sticks out to you when you reach these places, or when the light reaches these places, if there's anything that sticks out to you, pause. If you feel brave, pause and ask it. Are you ready to go? Pause and ask it if it's ready to go. Pause and ask it if it wants to stay with you. Pause and say thank you for waiting for me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for waiting for me. Thank you, I love you. Thank you, I love you. Thank you, I love you. Treating these pockets of ourselves, of our body, mind, and spirit that have maybe before this point been too scary to look at for their pain or their beauty. Treating these places, these illuminated places, with the fire of Imbolc, with compassion and love, might just make it feel a little bit more accessible to you. And the more accessible we are to ourselves, the more willing we will hopefully be to be accessible to our fellows, both locally and globally. We must be accessible to ourselves. We must be accessible to one another. We must. Okay. So here I am, stoking my own Imbolc fires. Here I am again at a fact-finding and fact-facing place, this midway point between the dark germination of winter and the thaw and further light of spring. I'm sort of at this halfway point and I'm recommitting. I have some tools though that I'm using for myself. I would like to just sort of offer them to you in the spirit of community and help. There is no exclusivity here, just some suggestions that are really aiding in the strength and processing and facing of my own light. First of all, I pulled a couple cards for us from Judy Hall's Crystal Gem Oracle. I was going to pull out a bunch of my own stones to sort of use them in my meditation and tell you about them, but I felt called to work with stones from Judy Hall's book. I sat in prayer and meditation and I asked for guidance from all spiritual communications that are here tonight. I asked them for strength and guidance for this very specific 2-day period for you, for me, and for us. And the first card that I pulled, the first stone, is Menelite. Menelite. And from a divinatory perspective, Menelite is here tonight for this period of time to ask us to really embody in a truly, like I couldn't make this up if I wanted to really truly embody an ancient sense of the divine feminine, an ancient sense of gestation for any body, any literal physical body, any gender, any identification. This applies in an ancient and holy way. The way that we gestate within ourselves, the way that we gestate in relation to the earth, the way that we gestate, the way that we go through gestation, the way that we go through gestational periods of time with that which we want to create and give birth to the world. Anyway, I get very dreamy when I think about Menelite, and it's a literal curve. I want to show that to you one more time. Again, the divinatory property of this card and stone is drawing from the divine feminine and really letting us know that gestation for all is the way. That is to say that there is, again, no rushing out of this. We are asked to really just like, I'll do it. I'm going to do it. It's like a sumo squat type of thing to really just get deeply, deeply, deeply grounded in ourselves, in one another, in our surroundings. 10 toes deep, we are in this shit for the long haul in terms of our journey towards further expanded light of spring. This card, from a divinatory perspective, the card and the stone from a divinatory perspective, is really also giving us a nod to a helpful hint of one of the things we could be spending our time doing here in this deeply, deep, dark, and fecund gestational period, which is sublime acts of pleasure. What does it go? All acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. All acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. All acts of love and pleasure are my rituals. in this deep, dark, and fecund time, give yourself to slowness, to fluidity. Allow yourself to draw from this flame of Imbolc and flow forward to spring like lava. You are fluid, but you are still very much of the flames. I pulled another card. Which is Preseli Bluestone. This one I don't have in my own working use. I don't personally own this card, but I've pulled this a few times. Preseli Bluestone, from a divinatory perspective, when I ask them about it, what it means for you and me and us, they are really asked to, as we dwell within this fecund slowness of the time, as we are here, allow this to sort of be like a standing video game movement, you know, when you've chosen your player and they're sort of standing in place, but it's an active stillness, right? We're sort of here. Preseli Bluestone combined with Menelite is really combining to say, as you recommit, as you give yourself to the darkness of this time, they'd like you to really, really assess or reassess your surroundings. We are at a midway point. Yes, it's a recommittal. Preseli Bluestone is really talking about recommitting to the assessment of who or what have you carried with you up until this point? Is it for your best and highest good? But one further and perhaps one greater is who and what you've carried with you up until this point in the best and highest good of where you'd like to be seasons from now. Is it in the best and highest good of your communities? We are being forced one way or another, by beauty, by pain, to nurture ourselves for the greater purpose of the whole, for our communities near and far, to ending any and all systems of oppression that have been in place up to this point. Preseli Bluestone, from a divinatory perspective for tonight, is here really to aid us in protecting ourselves by way of reassessment of who and what is around us, who and what we allow to have access to. It's asking us to bolster, to fortify ourselves. And one of the ways it really shows up to serve us in lesson for doing that is being as sharp as you can be in this fluid place of Menelite, as sharp as you can be, to pay really well attention to what is drawing in and out from you. Protect yourself, cleanse yourself, recommit to the best and highest good for you and for community by taking that stock and cleaning house if you need to. I offer you, before my final notes and suggestions, I offer you all here in the here and now, those that weren't here in the beginning, to receive this offering. This offering was made by one of the people that this circle is dedicated to, my coven mate Ivory. She is a beautiful, generous, talented witch, and I love her very much. Thank you, Ivory. I still use it. Some of the things that I am bolstered by tonight, in addition to the stones that I pulled from this deck. So I'm using this medicine combined with the olfactory medicine. Those of you that have ever circled with me before or worked with me before know that I love very much olfactory support. It is one of the things that gets me where I need to be in terms of being able to know that I am in a place of safety. I am never not working with cinnamon leaf oil. My chart has a stellium in fire, and I really, really, really love anything that helps me feel like my blood is moving. So I'm using a bit of cinnamon bark oil, but for the most part, I am grounding down in two main parts with pine and rosemary. I thought to initially use grandmother cedar as my base and grounding point, but I was unequivocally told by Spirit tonight that she needed to rest. This circle is also in part for her, the earth. Grandmother cedar gets a rest tonight, and so in its place I am bolstered by pine and rosemary. This, for lots of reasons, helps me to remember to come back to 1, 2, and 3 chakras. Well, not less 3, but mostly 1 and 2. A sense of home and pride of place. Again, I added a drop of cinnamon bark oil to this pine and rosemary, and now I will add 1 drop of spearmint and 1 drop of clary sage for focus and clarity. I wish more than anything, not anything in the world, but I wish more than a lot of things that I could offer this to you if we were in circle right now. If you were here with me in my home, I would, with great love and care, go around the circle to each and every one of you. And you would smell what I smell. But since we're not together, I wanted to just name these things, so just in case you happen to have them in your home already, you feel lovingly encouraged to try them, or you feel lovingly encouraged to draw from another form of olfactory support. I'll give you this list one last time. I begin with cinnamon leaf oil because I think it's my most favorite smell of anything. And as my adopted mom, Tabitha Brown, she's not really my adopted mom, but she's wonderful, isn't she? Tabitha Brown would say, that's my business. So I begin with cinnamon leaf oil, and then I lay my foundation, my olfactory foundation, with a couple drops of pine, a drop of rosemary, to help me feel grounded in chakra 1 and 2 and connected to the earth in my practice. I then layer that with a drop of spearmint and a drop of clary sage for clarity, forward vision, sharpness in my fluidity, so that I can continue. And then I sandwich it like a Reiki symbol with 1 more drop of cinnamon leaf. Okay. I hope that you've taken as much as you needed from this time. I don't want to give formal bullet points of all the things that we talked about. It'll be on my my Instagram grid. I'll save this. This will also be on my YouTube, my new YouTube channel. I did a YouTube, you guys. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, this will also be on YouTube, I think tomorrow. This was supposed to be on YouTube Live, but as my beloved spouse and I are learning as we go, you gotta have 24 hours of the heads up for YouTube to give you a live. That's not live. That's 24 hours, guys. Anyway. So this will be on YouTube if you want to go there and watch, or you can sort of go back on my Instagram feed and pick up some of the details of what we talked about. If you want the bullet points of You know, this is a highly anglicized neo-pagan tradition that is Celtic in origins, and it has become all sorts of damn things, from Groundhog Day to it is still St. Bridget's Day, and there is still festivals. But here we are for all of the other reasons. And my this same beloved spouse reminded me that I will be sending out the first email sort of newsletter tomorrow, the first one I've done in 10 months. Okay, Sarah, you won't come on. Anyway, I gotta stop. So if you are not already signed up for the newsletter, it's not anything I send out to like sell you shit. There are offerings there if you want them, but most of the time I'm just there to like talk to you, to see how you're doing, to talk about these sort of things, and so you know very clearly how to find me. So yeah, the newsletter, the newsletter will be out tomorrow. The email is coming tomorrow. The YouTube is coming tomorrow. It's a lot of this. Let's just spend more time together. Really and truly, I do all of these things right now because I miss you a lot. Okay. Drawing from our light. I can't. Okay. Drawing from, I have to close it down. What do you want me to say? You gotta say it out loud.
Go on the website.
Drawing from our light. Drawing from our light. I want to, okay, my business manager here is, my business manager is saying, well, how do I sign up for your email? Well, you go to my website, and I think everybody here knows how to do that. crowmother.com. TheCrowmother.com. Look, anyway, TheCrowmother.com. You sign up for it there if you want to. Then you go to YouTube, and then you like, click, and subscribe, and then you share it. Hey, get it. Anyway, I'm so tired. Okay, drawing from this light. We're going to take our breaths again. I was so excited to put some of the lights out. Let's have 3 more breaths. Lots of virtual hugs, and then we'll go. Okay. I want to read all of these, and so I'm going to have to hang out and read all of them for a minute. Okay. Pretending as though, or maybe you don't need to pretend. Cinnamon leaf oil, pine, spearmint, clary sage, and rosemary. Let's have from the bowl of our beautiful pelvis a breath that draws our light up our spine, illuminating all of our pain and all of our beauty, and then we'll send it back down. We'll do that 3 times. Deep breath in. Deep breath in and out. Our last breath together tonight. Deep breath in, 2, 3. Hold if you can. 2, 3, and merry meet, merry part. Merry, may we meet again. May you be full and carried, surrounded by peace, safety, love, wholeness, hope, abundance, and happiness. May it be all of this or better. Blessed be, blessed be.